Welcome students. We already discussed about money and its evolution. Now we will have a clear idea about various definitions of money. Definitions of money have been given differently on the basis of certain aspects like its functions, legal approach, degree of moneyness, etc. They are legal definition of money, functional definition of money, narrow money, broad money, and money and near money. Let's study these definitions in detail. Legal definition of money. According to this definition, money is what the law says it is. That is, it means anything will be called money if the law proclaims it to be money. And it will be commonly accepted measure of value, and it will be endowed with legal tender power. According to this aspect, money is of two kinds. They are legal tender money, non-legal tender money. Legal tender money, it is accepted compulsorily by the people. The currency issued by the government and the central bank of the country is known as legal tender money. It is also called as fiat money because it serves as money on the order of the government. Non-legal tender or optional money. It is also called optional money. Bank money in the form of checks, draft, etc. are the form of non-legal tender money. It does not carry with it the elements of general acceptability. It is also called as credit money. Functional definition of money. This definition will include all things which perform the four functions that money does. According to this definition, anything which performs these functions will be called as money. The functions are medium of exchange, a unit of value, a standard of deferred payment, a store of value. Medium of exchange. The most important function of money is that it acts as medium of exchange. Money is accepted freely in exchange for all other goods. This function of money has solved the problem of double coincidence of wants created by the barter system of exchange. Measure of value. Money acts as a common measure of value. It is a unit of account and a standard of measurement. Whenever we buy a good in the market, we pay a price for it in money. And price is nothing but value expressed in terms of money. So, we can measure the value of good by the money we pay for it. This function makes economic calculations easy. Store of value. A man who wants to store his wealth in some convenient form will find money admirably suitable for the purpose. It acts as a store of value. Due to absence of money in barter system, wealth was stored in terms of goods. Storing of goods carried some problems like cost of storage, loss of value, difficult to transfer from one place to another, etc. So it was difficult for people to store their purchasing power under the barter system of exchange. But this problem was solved with the emergence of money as a medium of exchange. Money as a standard of deferred payment. Money is used as a standard for future, that is, deferred payments. It forms the basis for credit transactions. Business in modern times is based on credit to a large extent. This is facilitated by the existence of money. In credit, since payment is made at a future date, there must be some medium which will have as far as possible the same exchange power in the future as at present. If credit transactions were to be carried on the basis of commodities, there would be a lot of difficulties and it will affect trade. Narrow definitions of money. It is based upon medium of payment functions of money. Anything which is commonly accepted as medium of exchange is included. It includes currency and demand deposit. Broad definition of money. It is based upon store of value function of money. Anything which is widely used as store of value is included. It includes currency, demand deposits, savings deposits, and time deposits of both post office and bank. Money and near money definition. Money is anything which is used as a medium of payment in terms of cash. Near money is a close substitute for money. It can be easily converted into cash. This is highly liquid asset, for example bonds, shares, gold, silver, etc. Demand for money. The demand for money tells us what makes people desire a certain amount of money. Since money is required to conduct transactions, the value of transactions will determine the money people will want to keep. The larger is the quantum of transactions to be made, the large is the quantity of money demanded. Since the quantum of transactions to be made depends on income, it should be clear that a rise in income will lead to rise in demand for money. Also, when people keep their savings in the form of money rather than putting it in a bank, which gives them interest, how much money people keep also depends on rate of interest. So, demand for money balance is thus often referred to as liquidity preference. People desire to hold money balance broadly into three motives: transaction motive, precautionary motive, and speculative motive. Transaction motive. It is demand for money for day-to-day transactions. These are current transactions of individuals and business units. The amount of money depends on the level of income. Precautionary motive. It is demand for cash balances to provide for unforeseen contingencies like accidents, sickness, etc. The demand for money for precautionary motive is also depends on level of income. Speculative motive. It is demand for money to invest in the financial assets like shares, bonds, etc. The purpose or motive is to earn income from such investment. This demand depends upon rate of interest to be paid on borrowed funds for investment. Different people have different expectations regarding the future movements in the market rate of interest based on their private information regarding the economy. When the interest rate is very high, everyone expects it to fall in future and hence anticipates capital gain from bond holdings. Hence, people convert their money into bonds. Thus, speculative demand for money is low. When interest rates comes down, more and more people expect it to rise in the future and anticipate capital loss. Capital loss, it is a loss occurring from a falling bond price. Thus, they convert their bonds into money, giving rise to high speculative demand for money. Hence, speculative demand for money is inversely related to rate of interest. Money supply. Money supply refers to the total stock of money in circulation in an economy at a given point of time. Money supply of a country implies the stock of money at a specific point of time. Money supply includes the components which can be directly used for transactions. The components are currency, which is both paper money and coins held by the public. It is also known as currency held outside bank. Next is the net demand deposits held by the commercial banks. Hence, money supply is a stock variable and refers to stock of money held by public in spendable form. Measures of money supply. On the recommendation of the second working group on money supply, the RBI presented 4 measures of money supply in its 1977 issues of RBI Bulletin. Measures of M1. It includes currency notes and coins with the public, excluding cash in hand of all commercial banks, that is C. Second, demand deposits of all commercial bank and cooperative banks excluding interbank deposits. It is denoted as DD, where demand deposits are those deposits which can be withdrawn by the depositor at any time by means of check. No interest is paid on such deposits. Third is COD, that is other deposits with RBI. So M1 measures C plus DD plus OD, where other deposits are the deposits held by the RBI of all economic units except the government and banks. Other deposits includes demand deposits of semi-government public financial institutions like foreign central banks and governments and International Monetary Fund and World Bank, etc. Measure of M2 includes M1 plus post office savings deposits, and measure of M3 includes M1 plus time deposits of all commercial and cooperative banks, where time deposits are the deposits that cannot be withdrawn before the expiry of the time for which deposits are made. Fixed deposit is an example of time deposit. Measures of M4, M3 plus total deposits with the post office savings organizations, it excluding national savings certificates. Here M1 and M2 are referred to as narrow money, and M3 and M4 are referred to as broad money. High powered money. It consists of currency held by the public and reserves of commercial banks, which includes value cash and banks deposits with RBI.